Hi, welcome to Abby's Book Reviews. This is another book tag video and this is the TBR tag video. So this is more about your TBR, mine which is ever growing, never diminishing apparently. If you want to have a go at this yourself, go ahead. Question number 1. How do you keep track of your TBR pile? I have several. Number 1 is Goodreads. That's how, if I hear about a book, I will put it on there on my want to read list, which is why it's so long and I never seem to cull it. Really need to do that. Number 2 is a spreadsheet. I basically seem to track everything with spreadsheets. So I have what used to be a book review spreadsheet and it kept track of when I used to blog. Now it is mostly keeps track of my hauls each month, and then that goes onto a separate page which has all the books that I own that I haven't read, and then when I read one I will take it off the list. That's number 2. And number 3 is an app called Book Buddy, which is not sponsoring me at all, but this allows you to scan all your books in by barcode. You can have it like reading status, you can have finished and unread, and then you can move it to like currently reading if you really want to, a bit like Goodreads. You can favourite books, you can see if you've loaned any to anybody or if anybody's loaned you them, you can put them in that way. You can filter it by series, author, publisher, genre, and then you can do categories as well. So I have ones that I have owned but donated or read and donated, ebooks, and then my owned ones. So yeah, this is what the main page looks like. And then if you go into like reading status, and then I have it ordered by author, a bit like my actual TBR is. So this is just the beginning. But yeah, it definitely helps me keep track, and when I do my haul video for the month, before I put my books on my shelf, I scan them in to my app. It also means that when I'm in a bookstore, I could just open that up and just go, oh, I actually own that, rather than going, that sounds really interesting, I'll take it home. I already have 5, which hasn't happened to me having 5, but I have definitely bought multiples before and had to return them going, I already own this. To which my old local Waterstones, they used to know me really, really well, and they eventually ended up being like, did you not already buy this one? I'm like, yes, maybe. So yeah, there's lots of different ways of keeping track. Otherwise I don't really do anything. I suppose I have my bookshelf spread in my book journal, and I colour off when I've read something, but that's not as much keeping track as some of the others. Is your TBR mostly print or ebook? Definitely print. I think I have, this is when I last put books into Book Buddy, which for ebooks was a while ago. Yeah, so I haven't put ebooks into Book Buddy in like 3 months basically, and last check I had about 150. Whereas if I go on, I don't know that I can do that. Whereas if I was to go with like my own books, I'm pretty sure last check I had about 500 unread books in print. So I'm definitely saying print. How do you determine which book from your TBR to read next? So if you've followed this channel for a while, you will know I used to do TBR videos every month. I used to set it up depending on, like, especially with TBR and beyond, doing like monthly challenges, I would set myself a list. But towards the end of last year I was feeling really down with that system and not motivated to read at all. So I've decided this year to moon read, which basically means I pick whatever I feel like reading at that point in time. Which with about, 700 unread books I should be able to do. Sometimes there's still a book that I want to read that I do not own. I pretty much work it out, although some books, if I get a book and it's a book I've been waiting for, it will jump directly to the top of my TBR. But otherwise, yeah, I don't really hold myself to anything in particular anymore, unless like June was LGBTQ plus books for Pride Month, and May was middle grade books. Those because I know those are coming, so I try to stockpile books for those. So there is a range of books that I want to read, and mostly I can reread within those. Otherwise, for the rest of the year, it's pretty much anyone's game. What book has been on your TBR the longest? So when I went to uni, I packed a box of books that was like unread books, and I'm pretty sure I also packed up pretty much all of my books at my mum's place at the same time, and for some reason until about 2 years ago I completely forgot this box existed, and I opened it and there were books in there from like when I was like 15. The majority of them I donated because there's something that no longer interests me, but there were a few in particular that I wanted to keep, wanted to read, and one of them is Poison Study by Maria V. Schneider. This is the first in the study series, and I've heard really good things about this, which is why I kept this, and I would like to eventually read it. What book has been most recently added to your TBR? So for me, that is The Good Luck Girls by Charlotte Nicole Davis. So if you didn't know, from the 14th to the 20th of June, people were trying to black out bestseller list, whether that's New York Times or the Times in the UK, by trying to buy at least 2 books by black authors in that week and see if we managed to do anything. So I bought 3, and the one that I opened most recently was The Good Luck Girls. This is one that I'd seen a little bit about, but not really much, and then I ended up finding a couple of like YA books by black author lists that have come out recently. I'll link maybe 1 or 2 below if I can find them again, but just search and they'll be out there. This one really intrigues me now. What book is on your TBR strictly because of the beautiful cover? For me, it is the binding. This cover is pretty, but it's more the under dust jacket. Also the end pages. But like, look at that stunning, oh my gosh. The cover is what drew me to this book, but then reading the blurb I was like, I have to read this. I would say there's a few other books on my TBR that I've bought mostly because of the cover and then read the blurb. I don't normally buy things just because of the cover. It's like the cover grabs me in and then the blurb goes, yes, I want to read you. I wouldn't buy something just because it looks pretty. Which book on your TBR do you never plan on reading? At the moment, I don't plan on reading either of these 2. These have been on my TBR for 10 years, probably about that. So it is The Queen's Man by Rory Clements and Kingmaker Winter Pilgrims by Toby Clements. I was into a massive historical binge back when I was like 17 or 18, if not a bit earlier, and these are books that I bought then but haven't got around to reading. So I don't know, I may get back into that, therefore I'm holding on to them because they do sound interesting. What is an unpublished book on your TBR that you're excited for? One that I am so excited for, there's quite a few this year that I am really excited for, and majority of them come out in September. But one that I have been waiting for ever since Fee first mentioned it, clue there, is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I am so excited to be able to read this book that's been stewing in Vee's brain for the last 10 years, and being able to be a part of that and to read it and to, I don't know. Anyway, I'm just gonna stop gushing because I haven't read it yet. I am so jealous of people that have arcs. So jealous. I'm really super excited for that one. What book on your TBR does everyone recommend to you? There's quite a few that are ones that people recommend, but one, when the book originally came out, loads of people were going, you need to read this, you need to read this, you need to read this, and that is These Rebel Waves by Sara Raasch. This is my Fairy Loot edition. I still haven't read it yet. I now have These Divided Shores, and I still haven't read it. I love pirates. What am I doing with my life? I really need to get to this geology soon. A book on your TBR everyone has read but you. Number 1, House of Earth and Blood. I feel like everyone's read this but me, and I've only just got it. And then I would say there's a few others on here, but 2 main ones are King of Scars and Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I haven't read them yet. And the thing is, I know there's more books coming, so I kind of don't want to read them until I have the sequels, because otherwise I'll be waiting for like years going, what is happening? But at the same time, I really want to read them. I don't know, do I read them or do I not? Which book on your TBR are you dying to read? So there are a few books that I got at the end of May, or in May, that I am really, really excited for and I really want to read. So if I'm in the mood, I am going to read these, and they are Venom by Bex Hogan, Good Girl Bad Blood by Holly Jackson, and Crown of Smoke by PM Freestone. I also have the first one in each of these series to reread before I get onto these, because I cannot quite remember how the story goes. Finally, how many books are on your Goodreads shelf? As in your Goodreads want to read shelf. Please comment down below. I want to know how bad we all are. Mine, 922. I'm pretty sure I did a cull back in maybe 2018. But yeah, that's bad. So let me know how bad you are. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. It would make my day. Enjoy the book you're reading, and I will speak to you soon.